This story has so many twists and turns. A former Brazilian and Barcelona football legend, Dani Alves, world come crashing down.
Imagine losing your career, your freedom and your marriage for the court to then turn around and say that you're innocent.
The story starts December 31st, 2022 at New Year's Eve. In a nightclub in Barcelona, a woman then 23 dances with Alves in a VIP area. She alleges he twice forced her hand on his penis and led her to the bathroom, blocked her exit and slapped her, then arced her against a sink in a toilet. CCTV shows her entering voluntarily but appearing distressed afterwards. Alves claims she initiated and enjoyed it and he was intoxicated. So the following year, January 2nd, 2023, the woman files a police complaint in Barcelona, triggering an investigation under Spain's new consent-focused sexual assault laws, passed in October 2022, just a few months out from this incident, amid Me Too protests. The club activates anti-assault protocol and Alves returns to Brazil for Puma duties. Alves was arrested at Barcelona airport upon returning for questioning. Spanish court orders pre-trial detention in Brian's 2 prison near Barcelona due to the flight risk and him having a Brazilian citizenship and no fixed address in Spain. He denies the charges, saying, "I swear on my children, it's not true." The following month, Puma terminates Alves' contract amid this scandal, leading to a later civil dispute that would not be solved until 2025. Now, an investigation gathers evidence, DNA matches and phone records, even witness statements like Alves' wife that filed for divorce that was later withdrawn. Barcelona removes him from its legends list. This had a massive impact. In July 2023, the prosecutors charged Alves with sexual assault and rape under Spanish law. Seeking 12 years in prison, he remains detained and appeals for release, but it was denied. He actually loses a separate tax fraud appeal but wins image rights case that was nothing to do with this rape. December 2023, a trial date is set for February 2024 and Alves' team argues consent and questions the accuser's credibility. So there was a 3-day trial in Barcelona. The accuser testifies tearfully. Alves, via video from prison, insists on consent. Court finds non-consent proven, but on her word via DNA and CCTV, inconsistencies in her initial statements. But February 22nd, 2024, a guilty verdict, and he's sentenced to 4.5 years in prison, reduced from the 9-year demand due to €150,000 paid to the victim pre-trial, a 9-year restraining order and 5 years probation, and court credits partial payment towards damages. This conviction actually made him lose his wife. She was considering splitting up with him because of what happened. There was letters that got leaked online of him begging for forgiveness while he was in jail facing this charge. The following month, he was released on a €1 million bail pending the appeal, with restrictions, no contact with the victim, Spanish residency and weekly check-ins. Alves expresses relief, justice will prevail. Now, on the appeal for this, it gets interesting. At the hearings, the defense highlights inconsistencies in the accuser's testimony, CCTV showing voluntary entry, no visible force, and discrepancies on oral sex. The following day, it said on March 28, 2025, the Court of Justice had a unanimous ruling. The original verdict had irregularities and inconsistencies of what the accuser put forward, and also an unreliable witness whose story doesn't correspond with reality. The presumption of innocence violated, all restrictions lifted, no retrial ordered. We can't constantly question a woman's word, was said in court. Now he was a free man, and the Spanish court obviously had overturned Dani Alves' sexual assault conviction. Watching a TikTok on this actually hit home for me how much this affected this man and ruined his life.
Jail, then found not guilty. But here's what you don't know about the story. When the case first started, Dani was one of the highest paid defenders in the world, worth over $65 million. But the moment the news broke, brands dropped him instantly. Overnight, his fortune started disappearing. What many don't realize is that during the trial, Alves actually offered money just to settle the situation. Not because he admitted guilt, but because he was desperate to protect his family and reputation. That deal backfired. People said, if he's paying, he must be guilty. Another detail people ignore. Alves' wife stood by him at first, but later filed for divorce while he was behind bars. His marriage collapsed before the truth came out. And here's the shocking part. Even after the judge ruled him not guilty, Alves didn't get his money back. He lost sponsors, lost millions in legal fees, and at 41, his career is gone forever. So yes, he's free, but he walked out of prison broke, divorced, and with no chance of ever stepping on the pitch again.
Straight after we got the news that he was innocent this time around, many people speaking out on Twitter saying this is disgusting, what is going to happen to the victim in this case, and we actually heard from someone else speak out in more detail about the impact on him. And someone said on X, after serving time in prison, Dani Alves has now been found not guilty of rape. Life moves on like nothing happened, especially for the woman who destroys his life. She walks free. Dani lost everything, absolutely everything, including his family. As a man, the game was rigged against him from the start. Worth over 60 million, his empire collapses after being accused of raping Barcelona nightclub at 39. He spends 14 months in 2 prisons. Sponsors like Puma cut ties, cost him millions. Lawsuits piled up, including a 2.2 million claim from Puma. His marriage also crumbled, ending the divorce filing. Convicted in February 2024 under Spanish strict consent laws, based largely on the accuser's testimony. He was sentenced to 4.5 years in prison in order to pay 150,000 euros in damages, covered partly by allies including Neymar's family. Despite proclaiming his innocence, Alves appealed. They said on March 28th, the court unanimously acquitted him over flaws and inaccuracies in the evidence, inconsistencies in the woman's story, and lack of corroborating proof. He walked free after 839 days in prison. Meanwhile, the accuser remains anonymous and uncharged for an unproven crime.
The Catalan High Court on Friday ruled unanimously to overturn his conviction. They stated that the alleged victim's testimony lacked reliability, particularly regarding facts that could be objectively verified by video recordings. The new ruling can also be appealed, but in the meantime, Alves may now leave the country as the court has also lifted the travel ban.
Now, the prosecutors announced an appeal to the Spanish Supreme Court, calling the acquittal morally wrong, and will continue with their complaint. It was said that the prosecutors have actually now filed to the Supreme Court and the case could reach a third trial if accepted, but there's no timeline on this right now. Dani's made a lot of money over his career, but it said his total case related losses are around 6.5 to 7.5 million euros. The legal fees, the time he spent on prison, the bail money, and everything in between. He was ordered to pay 2.2 million to Puma for the 2023 contract breach under appeal. It says Alves now lives in Brazil, free but facing potential Supreme Court conviction reinstatement if the victim's appeal gets accepted. A piece come out saying sentenced to 4.5 years in prison, lost over 25 million in deals as well, his marriage, and saw all investments collapse after 839 days behind bars. He was finally released. And obviously the wife situation, they managed to sort out the differences, actually come out after the conviction got overturned. It wasn't long before they was announced another child, so they got back together. One of the most famous footballers in the world, Ronaldo himself, he was dragged through an arcade in Vegas that haunted him for many years, and apparently he was supportive over Dani in this situation. It said that Dani said after his release from prison, "I still have a hard time believing it. Cristiano Ronaldo was by my side after all these years behind bars. When I finally regained my freedom, I received almost no help. Most of my friends I had supported had disappeared. I lost almost everything, my property, my savings, until there was nothing left. And one day Ronaldo called me, invited me to talk to him, and I opened up about my difficulties, and he helped me in a way that I'll never forget. If today I'm financially stable and I smile again, it's thanks to Ronaldo."